Hey guys, Matt with CJ Off-Road here. Now obviously I'm filling in for Bill as he's out today, but if you all saw last night, the reveal of the brand new 2021 Ford Bronco was live on TV as well as YouTube, and I definitely was up watching the entire thing and couldn't sleep, going on their website, trying to check one out and even trying to reserve one. Now the 2021 Ford Bronco is a direct competitor to the Jeep Wrangler, which we sell on the off-road page, and I think it's going to be a great all-around vehicle. There was a lot of different features that I saw last night during the reveal, and it's been teased for so long that I think the populace was really ready to see this thing be released and be able to get their hands on one.
Introducing the Bronco family.
I gotta tell you guys that Ford did not disappoint on this. I was really happy to see that the features that the Bronco had were very competitive to the Jeep Wrangler, and even in some of the aspects actually beat the Jeep Wrangler. Now I'm going to talk about some of the specifications that I saw last night, how they compare to some of our more modern vehicles, as well as the lineage of the Ford Bronco and really how we got to this point in its history. So you're going to want to stay tuned to this video, and also if you want to check out a full Jeep Wrangler versus Jeep Bronco comparison, pop over to our off-road side where you can watch an in-depth video and really get a good comparison. So as many of you guys know, the Bronco was released in 1965 and ended in 1996. Now in between then you had the first generation Bronco, you had the Bronco 2, and then you had the full-size Bronco. One of the biggest attributes of the Bronco is that it could go over any terrain, or GOAT as they called it in the Ford program. The initial Bronco was designed to go places that many other modern vehicles couldn't go, and it actually designed the SUV class in the US here. It led up to the Bronco 2, which wasn't as good of a seller as the full-size Bronco. I've got to tell you guys, we've had a few of them up here in the shop just to check them out, and they are absolute beasts off-road, plus they look super aggressive. But from 1996 until now 2020, for the past 24 years, there's not been a Ford Bronco. And there was a lot of hype back in 2017 that they were going to release it and then they weren't. And there was even some hype last year that they thought they were going to release it at SEMA. So now to finally see it, it must have taken Ford a very long time to get everything worked out and get all the quirks worked out of this thing. I've got to tell you guys, I think that was on purpose though. The new Wrangler released in 2018, so they waited a little bit to see what that had to offer, and then they offered the Bronco to beat that in a lot of different aspects. So leading into that, I will say that the interior and the exterior of the Ford Bronco is definitely a modern vehicle. I cannot tell you guys how impressed I was seeing both the two-door and the four-door in the release video last night, and the fact that you can get 35-inch tires from the factory just blew me away. That's probably the largest size tire besides on a Ford Raptor that you can get on a factory vehicle. Now on the interior of the Ford Bronco, they did not disappoint on the features that you're going to get. You're going to get a standard 8-inch screen. Now that's exactly what the consumer has been waiting for. A true 8-inch screen that you can actually use and access and get all of your data off of and really make it a comfortable ride is what a modern vehicle needs. And I gotta say, even compared to the Jeep, they only come standard with a 3.5 that is black and white and has color when you put it into reverse, but it just doesn't compare to an 8-inch or larger screen. I have one in my Jeep, an 8.4, and it is awesome. I can't believe that I used anything else besides that in the past. Now as far as the interior goes too, I was incredibly impressed that they designed a roll cage without a center cross member. That means when you pop the top off, you're going to get a complete open air experience. Now that's really different than a lot of modern vehicles, and I gotta tell you, I will give it to Ford for being able to design something like that, as it is not easy to pass the federal highway and the traffic safety and all those tests. It's not easy to get those passed, especially with an open air vehicle. Now I was really impressed too by the doors on the brand new Bronco, as well as the mirrors and their storage for them all. Now the doors are removable and the mirrors stay on the front A-pillar of the vehicle, while all the doors have a nice spot in the rear, as well as carrying bags to put all of them stacked right next to each other. The Jeep or any other vehicle on the road does not have anything like that. I gotta tell you guys, I haven't seen that, but I think it is a genius idea. You can pop your doors off at the beach or when you're going out for off-roading, throw them in the back and not have to worry about them. Now moving on to the exterior, the Bronco does throw a lot of heritage back to that original 1965 all the way through up the different years of the Bronco model. Now it does come standard with LED headlights, LED taillights, and remote proximity entry, which is what every modern vehicle should have. They really hit the mark on that one by making it the LEDs and LED taillights from the factory. And a lot of other vehicles, that still is an option. You can still option halogen lights in a 2020 or 2021 model, which I think is not anywhere near what we are in the car world right now. Looking at the side of the Bronco, I will say that I did notice that the back of it, when you look at the side of the door entrance, the back is raised a lot higher, just like we've seen in the Ford Ranger as well as a lot of other Ford trucks. Plus, the original Ford Bronco was raised up higher in the back. I think it looks really great on the Bronco. I've also noticed that it has a swing gate tire carrier instead of a drop down like many of the other Broncos had. Actually, all the other Broncos had a drop down tailgate. So it does have a swing gate. We'll see how capable that is of holding a larger tire. Speaking of tires, you can get a Sasquatch edition on the new Bronco, which upgrades your wheels and tires to a 35-inch on a 17-inch beadlock capable wheel. Yes, beadlock capable right from the factory, as well as upgraded suspension, front and rear lockers, sway bar disconnects, and a final gear ratio of 4.7. That is awesome. That's way higher than any other vehicle I've seen. It's going to be excellent crawling, especially made it up to that 10-speed automatic or the 7-speed manual with a crawl gear on it. Now, I have calculated a little bit, and I saw some findings online that the final crawl ratio is actually over 97:1, which is extremely low gear. You can crawl at about probably 0.2 miles per hour over just about anything. Now, with the engines powering the Bronco, you're going to be offered the 2.3-liter EcoBoost as well as the 2.7-liter EcoBoost that's found in the F-150. Now, I think both of these are great engines, and both of them offer over 300 horsepower, and I believe the 2.7 is over 400 foot-pounds of torque. That is a ton of power in both a 2-door and a 4-door, and it's going to be well over the numbers that the Jeep or many other vehicles in its same class can produce. Now, both of these engines are going to be producing power going through a transfer case and back down to a solid rear axle that's either going to be a Dana M210 or an M220. I believe there's also an MY90, which is a smaller one for the base model if you get that. And then up front, you're going to have the choice of an M180 or an M210 in the larger of the models with that Sasquatch package or some of the lockers available on there. I gotta say, they've used Dana axles, and I'm used to seeing those numbers now because it's the exact same thing found in the Wranglers. So I think a lot of the parts will be cross-compatible on that rear end. However, up front, we do have the independent front suspension. So that's a lot different than I'm used to seeing, but it is modern. That's what people are using, and it does give you a lot more clearance up front. Makes it a little bit more tricky to throw a lift kit on, and it does take a lot more parts to get it up in the air. But once you do have it up in the air, you can get extreme articulation, as well as a much more comfortable ride on and off the road. I gotta tell you guys, I was also really impressed with the names that Bronco has used in this marketing tool. They're using things like the Outer Banks, the Badlands Edition, Sasquatch package. I'm also really impressed by the wide variety of colors you can get it in. I'm personally a huge fan of the Cactus Gray. We know that you can now reserve a spot in line to buy your Bronco. It's going to be $100, and you can go on. If you could actually make it through the website, it was crashing a lot last night, which shows me that a ton of people are ordering these things. So I gotta tell you guys, here at CJ's, we are gonna have you guys covered with the parts for these as soon as they're released, and probably have a lot of them up on our website even before you can get one in stores or at your local showroom. As far as ordering goes, I read on the website that you can order in late 2020, and that's gonna go on that order of reservation that you paid the $100 for, and then they will be showing up in spring of 2021. So a little bit of hype for about a year wait, but I think a lot of people are gonna be super interested to get their hands on one of those. I know we're gonna have one here at CJ's, and we can't wait to get that thing sky high in the air and really take it out on the trails and really show off what that Ford Bronco can do. If we can get one ahead of time, we'll definitely be giving you guys all the updates we can on that Bronco. And make sure you stay tuned on CJ Off-Road for all the Bronco and Jeep content. We're gonna be comparing these things, taking them out when we get a hold of a Bronco, and really diving into the heritage, as well as making sure this thing can handle and hold up to its legendary name. Now, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and really enjoyed the reveal of the Bronco. So I've got to give Ford huge props for the cinematography on the reveal, as well as all the hype. I have not seen a vehicle that was so anticipated. I mean, they released this on live television on major providers as well as YouTube on a Monday at 8 o'clock. They wanted to give it to everyone that just got off, hard days of work at 5 o'clock and be able to sit down with their family and check out a vehicle that hasn't been released to the public in the past 24 years. So Ford, huge props to that, and we can't wait to see your brand new Bronco.